Hello everyone, my name is Stephen Howson and this is pre-game analysis Manchester United against Southampton. Now at the top of the table it is all Manchester United and City, and we have opened up a 3-point gap between ourselves and Chelsea. Now it looks good, we're scoring goals, everything's free flowing, it's going to potentially be a Manchester duel and a Manchester shootout from now to the end of the season, but there's still some minor issues in Manchester United's play. There's still a very real chance that we're going to drop the ball at some point over the next, I don't know, month or so. And I think that's very likely to happen considering that we've got only one home game in the next 7 matches. That's big. That's a lot of time on the road. And when you consider that we've got to go as far aflung crazy places as Benfica, as Moscow, as Liverpool, then there's a very good chance that we're probably going to drop the ball on at least one of those games, unfortunately. Now, if we don't, if we come through that and we are all firing, if we win all of those games, nobody can doubt Manchester United's credentials. Now, I do worry about how we're going to do if we can even manage it without Paul Pogba. We are about to find out. Now, as always, my content is sponsored by the OneFootball app, so make sure to go and download the OneFootball app. You can find the link in the description below, and on the app you're going to find stats, you're going to find news, you're going to find rumours, you're going to find transfer information, you're going to find everything that you need to know from fixtures to upcoming, everything that's going on in the world of football. It is an absolutely fantastic resource, and I know that you guys are enjoying it because loads of people say, I found out about the OneFootball app because of you. So I'm buzzing, they're buzzing, that's why they keep sponsoring us. So download it, let us know what you think in the comments, get the notifications turned on because I am literally just getting all of my information from OneFootball now. It is a bit of a collator, so they don't just have their own sources on there as well. Everything goes into the mixer, so it's definitely worth checking out. Link in the description, on with the video. So let's talk about Southampton. On the face of it, they're just not scoring goals. While United have blitzed the opposition with 16 goals in 15 games, Saints have managed 4 goals in 5 games. Think about that. 4 goals in 5 games. That's not even close to what Lukaku's got on his own. What's crazy is that 3 of those goals, out of those 4 goals, 3 of those goals came in one match against West Ham. And it's only the Crystal Palace match where they've been able to score 1 goal. Outside of that, it's madness. But what that has allowed them to do is to amass 8 points, which is what Liverpool are on, which is what Spurs are on. So they're on the same as them, and they're above Arsenal. So they're not really in that bad a position, but they've not really played anybody either. So I think that there's a very real chance Manchester United can go and put some numbers up here and probably score a few more goals and have everyone going nuts this weekend, which would be really nice. There's also the chance that they could get their act together a little bit and cause a little bit of an upset. So I've been checking out all their games, and the reason that this is coming out so late is because I've spent a long time watching those games. They've been playing a 4-2-3-1. Except in the League Cup where they played a 3-4-3 and they were beaten soundly by Wolves. But they also tried it out in the last 10 minutes of the Crystal Palace game. Is this an indicator of what Manchester United can expect? Now, in that Crystal Palace game, Virgil van Dijk came back and I think he's hands down their best player. And they switched to a 3 at the back to accommodate him. And they switched to a 3 at the back to accommodate him because Yoshida is good. Holt is good. They're both good defenders. Now, the 3 of them together, I can see what the manager's thinking. He's thinking, the 3 of them together, 3 of their better players, is this a way that they can accommodate those 3 players and potentially push on further up the pitch? If you're playing 3-5-2, and arguably their midfield is their weakest part, they're not getting no width from their defence at the moment. They like to play out from defence, but they're not getting any width from their defence. They're not really ones to overlap. They're not really ones to really push on. And their forward 3 when they play 4-2-3-1 is extremely narrow. All of those players are coming tight. The way we see Manchester United can occasionally go a little bit tight. That's why we force the likes of Rashford and Martial to go and stand right on the wing. Mata drifts inside naturally because that's his natural game. On the left-hand side, those players are inverted forwards, inverted wide men. They're coming inside. So it's a bit of a test to try and get everybody to push out a little bit. When they're playing Tadic on one side, Redmond on the other side, they're coming in narrow. And I think if I'm putting myself in the manager's shoes, what would I do? I would go and try and provide the width using Bertrand and Suarez. I honestly think that's the way that they're going to be able to get some width, and I think that provides them a platform at the back to be able to build from. They like playing it out from the back. The lads that they've got at centre half are good playing it out from the back. So I think this is something that they could really go with. Like I said, they haven't played anybody that's a top team. And I think that's one of the worries that they've got, because the lack of scoring goals... The lack of scoring goals can be sometimes down to the opposition just putting everyone behind the ball, but nobody does that against Southampton. They haven't played a top team that's just completely shut them out. When you look at the stats and you see how many shots they've been having like a normal amount of shots, apart from the Swansea game where they had 25 shots. They've been having a normal amount of shots, so you would expect a higher return on the goals than they've been getting. It's just not been the case. But we saw this with Manchester United last season, where you try and analyse, hang on, what's going on with the shooting here? Because on the face of things, we're getting into the right areas, the shots are coming from the right areas. It's not like you can look at all their shots and go, this guy's shooting like 5 times a game from 30 yards out. That's not happening. That wasn't happening with Manchester United. That's not happening now with Southampton. They're getting into good areas. They're shooting from inside the box. They're shooting what you would call high percentage chances. They're just not going in. So I think at some point this is going to click for them and they're probably going to be okay. At the moment, it just isn't firing, and it's a great time for Manchester United to play them. Without Paul Pogba, I do have a little bit of worry in terms of creativity, because the nature of the two midfielders that they play, Romeo and Lamina, are defensive-minded. They could quite easily be asked to do a double marking job on Mkhitaryan, who, as Manchester United's creative outlet, has got a lot of pressure on him going into this game. If you can keep Mkhitaryan quiet, keep Mata quiet, United's creative force is going to be resulted to being Lukaku making something happen for himself against 3 centre-halves. Wouldn't fancy his chances, to be honest, as good as he is. So I'm trying to put myself in what the opposition manager can do and try and project that going forward. So, as I said, they like to play out from the back. That defence pushes up quite high. From Manchester United point of view, that leaves gaps, and those gaps is where we can get a ball in over the top, round the corner, and in behind that defence. Lukaku, Rashford, or Martial leave everybody in that defence for dust. That is going to be the way Manchester United play. But are they going to play the way that they've played against everybody this season? Like I said, they've not played any top teams. They've not played any teams where they would expect to be the massive underdog. So is everything that we've seen going to be completely different when they actually host Manchester United? And are they going to sit off knowing the amount of goal threat that the United have got in the team? Or are they going to try and take the game to us? These are the things that we don't know until the game starts. These are the things that's hard to have a real guess at. But I have tried to have a guess at it, because that's what this show is all about. That's what this little series is all about. And I was really torn as well between whether I see them playing 4 at the back or 3 at the back. I think with playing 3 at the back is actually more attacking for them and provides them a bit of a more stable platform. I think they're weakest in midfield. I think that is their weakness. So I think you can bolster that midfield by giving a bit more of a screen to the defence and allowing those midfielders to just do the job of a midfielder. Move the creative outlets for this team a little bit wider and try and find Gabbiadini in the channels. So the starting 11 I think that Saints are going to go with is going to be Foster in net, a back 3 of Yoshida, Van Dijk and Holt, Suarez and Bertrand as the wing backs, Romeo and Lamina as holding midfielders, Tadic as like a, so this is like a 4-3-3-4, sorry, a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1, you could call it, I guess, with a couple of attacking midfielders, providing width. They're not really wingers. Possibly Davis, but it could be Redmond. I really don't know about that position on the left-hand side. But I think Tadic on the right, Davis or Redmond. I would go with Redmond. I think they might go with Davis. Gabbiadini down the middle. And I think what they're going to look to do is they're going to look to build from the back the way that they do, but build from the back and go wide. Not necessarily long and wide, but build from the back and push wide. Manchester United's wing-backs, full-backs are very attacking. They can definitely peg us back by attacking us down there, and they can also probably find a little bit of space by attacking us down there as well. And danger man-wise, I like Tadic. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's a really underrated player. I like how he plays the game, but I think in this instance, Gabbiadini is the danger for us. He's like a diet version of Lukaku. He plays the game the same way, albeit he's a little bit softer, loves going down and holding some part of his body. But the way he runs the channels, he's quick. He's quite aggressive in the way he runs, if not in the way he deals with tackles. He's got a good finish on him. He's not bad in the air. He really is like a diet version of Lukaku, and know how Lukaku plays. He wants to isolate players. He wants to try and get in behind and stuff like that. And if you give him the opportunity inside the box, he is going to score because he is a good player. But we have to cut off the supply line to him. If we cut off the supply line to him, if we stop Tadic from being able to get the ball into Gabbiadini or in behind Manchester United's high line defence, then Manchester United are going to win this game, and we could win this game quite comfortably. My United 11, and United should play this team wide. We should really try and be quite rigid in how wide we go with this team. I would go with the same team we wanted to see last weekend, actually, that we didn't see. So, Big Dave in net, Valencia, Bay, Jones and Blind as fullback, Matic and Herrera as a midfield two, although in reality, I think the way that you see Mkhitaryan dropping into midfield, it's more like a 4-3-3 than anything else. Mata on the right, Mkhitaryan either down the middle or as a number 8. Rashford on the left, and I'll come to the reasons why for Rashford in a second, over Martial, and Lukaku up front leading the line. So the reasons why Rashford over Martial, because on form, it's Martial, let's face it. But there's a tactical reason for Rashford, and the tactical reason for Rashford is because this team likes to play out from defence, the same way that we saw Chelsea liking to play out of defence last season. What does Marcus Rashford offer you? He offers you that harassment of centre-halves. When a centre-half's in possession, they're able to pick up ball nice and easy, move the ball up the pitch and start the play-off. That's what Southampton like to do by playing it out of defence. They have a high line and they like to play out of defence. Now, the worst-case scenario for a Southampton defender is for him to be stepping out of defence with the ball, getting tackled by Marcus Rashford because he is right in behind. And then you're going to be looking at a 1v1, 2v1 situation across that back line. Does the middle defender then stay marking Lukaku or go to the ball? Well, they're going to go to the ball because that's the imminent threat. That means that you leave Lukaku free in the box. And that's when chaos starts to ensue. So it's a pure tactical reason, and hope that he doesn't look as drunk as he did last week. Not suggesting he was drunk. He looked like he was playing drunk. That's the best description that I've heard of it so far, is that he looked drunk. He just looked totally out of himself. Could have been a growth spurt, could have been anything. Hope it's just that game and then it's out of his system. The keys to victory for Manchester United in this game are going to be then a 2v1 on the fullbacks. Anytime a team plays 3 at the back, the weak link, as we said last week, is in this sort of area here, in between where the wide centre half is and that wing back. That gap, if it can be exploited, is money. If you can drag over the centre half into the wing, that's money. That leaves gaps all over the place. A good back three is a tight back three, and once those defenders start getting dragged left and right, that's when a back three starts to fall to pieces. I think they've got quite defensively minded fullbacks, but if you 2v1 them, what can they do? They can do absolutely nothing. 2v1 them, create the space and exploit the space behind them, because they're going to want to be pushing forward in this sort of system if that's what they choose to play. But even in a back four, because of how narrow their forward three is, if they choose to play 4-2-3-1, you can still 2v1 the fullbacks in this sort of system in the way Southampton utilise it. So 2v1 is the number one thing. Find 2v1s out wide and get some balls into the box, whether that's on the floor or floated in. Get some balls into the box. That's why Daley Blind's there. That's why Tony Valencia's there. Get some balls into the box. Let's get some men into the box. Let's get some goals. The second one is give Mkhitaryan some options. As I mentioned earlier, Romeu and Lamina are defensive minded. If they double mark him, or if they just keep passing in between the two of them to keep him marked, he's going to have a nightmare of a game, because he is the creative outlet really now for Manchester United. If Mata comes in as well and starts offering the first option for him, the interplay between those two can be absolutely ridiculous at times. Mkhitaryan needs options. He needs options to feet. He needs options in behind. If Mkhitaryan's got options, then Mkhitaryan's going to absolutely punish you. He held onto the ball a little bit long sometimes last week, but he was also taking risks as well. So I think he might be getting used to the role of having to do not only his usual job, but also now Paul Pogba's job. And if he can do that, again, that's money for Manchester United. And finally, counter quickly. They're a team that likes to play out from the back. They like the ball at the feet. And they like to really push right up to the halfway line with the ball at the feet. Now, they look strong coming out from the back. It's the other end where it's not really been working for them. But if you can counter quickly, that is a high line, and they are nowhere near as fast as Manchester United. This is where Marcus Rashford or Martial, if Jose goes that way, Mkhitaryan especially, and Lukaku are going to really try and exploit these. That's why you've got to go wide and you've got to go quickly. The transition from defence to attack from Manchester United, if that is quick, and that's why I've chosen Herrera over Fellaini. If that transition from defence to attack is quick, then Manchester United are going to get in behind this defence, and getting in behind this defence is going to lead to goals from Manchester United. And that, for me, is the keys to victory for this team. So, let me know if you agree in the comments. These have been doing pretty well so far. We've been nailing how the opposition's going to play every time. The only thing that we've not got is the United way of playing, because not getting the United team bang on, Jose's going a little bit of a different route every single week. I mean, I guess it's his prerogative. He is the Manchester United manager. But I've been getting the opposition's sort of style of play and their threats nailed down. Hopefully I can start to get the United way of playing and lineup nailed down, and then these videos are going to be a really good resource for everybody, I hope. Those of you who have been watching them, let me know if you are enjoying them. They seem to get a good reception, but let us know in the comments. Is there anything else you've spotted in the Southampton style of play? Bang it in the comments. Let me know. All that sort of good stuff. Subscribe if you're new around here. Bookending every match in the Premier League at the moment, and probably if we get there, the knockout stages of the Champions League, we will do this. A pre-game analysis where we scout the opposition and tell you what they're going to offer, and then the post-game analysis to see how it all sort of mashed together. That's it from me. I will see you after the game now. Hopefully it's another 3 points for Manchester United. I don't see Manchester City slipping up against Crystal Palace, but it would be the most Roy Hodgson and Manchester City thing ever to cock it up against Crystal Palace when people are predicting 5, 6, 7-0 and stuff like that, isn't it? So, all that being said, make sure to subscribe. I'm going for 50k this year, and you guys can help me get there by sharing this video and subscribing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you after the game. Laters.